More Russian attacks to come. This is a dynamic conflict, and we need to remember that Russia still maintains some offensive capability and may be able to achieve some tactical gains in the coming months. Now, to pursue that outcome in Avdiivka and elsewhere on the battlefield, Russia continues to show no regard for the lives of its soldiers.
Сейчас очень многие смакуют то, как бестолково гибнут россияне, которые лезут на Авдеевку. Ну вот мы набили столько, за один день 1300 погибло, 1400, значит, там горит техника, 90% идущих вперед гибнет, бестолковые, там бестолковые. Я напоминаю, что Иловайск, Дебальцево, Попасная, Северодонецк, Лисичанск, Бахмут, Солидар начинались точно и так далее. Напоминаю, что нас 7-й раз уже по счету ловят в ту же самую ловушку. 6 предыдущих раз кончилось, что мы потеряли территории, которые мы так залихватски начинали оборонять.
Wasgington Post reports that in recent days, Moscow's forces have gradually advanced to the north of Avdiivka, about 3 miles north of the occupied regional capital of Donetsk in eastern Ukraine, hoping to encircle the city and seize control of one of Ukraine's most well-fortified points on the front. The fierce escalation in fighting bears ominous echoes to the hellish months-long battle for Bakhmut, in which tens of thousands of Russian and Ukrainian soldiers died over control of a city that was largely razed. In response to ferocious Russian attacks, Ukraine has redeployed battalions from at least one brigade in the southern front of Avdiivka.
We're good, boys! Let's fucking kill these cunts! We're good,
Wasgington Post views this as a sign that Kiev is drawing on resources that otherwise might be focused on its counteroffensive to oust Russian occupiers. And we will come back to that quote a bit later. Ukraine claims that Russia has lost a significant amount of military equipment attacking Avdiivka. Ukrainian President Zelensky told British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak that Moscow had lost an entire brigade of fighters. And the next line is perhaps the most important phrase to note as a reader of this Ukraine war. Wasgington Post says those assertions could not be independently verified.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
White House National Security spokesman Admiral John Kirby said that Russia's attack on Avdiivka was a sobering reminder that Russian President Vladimir Putin wants to capture all of Ukraine.
I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Admiral Kirby then makes the very bold claim that he has information that Russian military actually executed soldiers who refused to obey orders.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
In a stark parallel between Avdiivka and Bakhmut, Zelensky described the resilience of Ukraine's forces in Avdiivka as the strength of all of Ukraine. After we saw Bakhmut holds became the national rallying cry last year, Kiev sacrificed thousands of soldiers in a futile bid to hold the city. And here's a quote from Wasgington Post. Debate still rages about whether it was worth the cost.
Якби спитали вас, чи підтримуєте ви продовження захисту Бахмуту, чи у вас, можливо, є якесь інше рішення?
Зору я ще на початку лютого чітко сказав, що нема сенсу тримати Бахмут. Бахмут – це така м'ясорубка, в якій ми втрачаємо найкращих людей, які мали досвід попередніх боїв, особливо що стосується контрнаступальних боїв літа-осені минулого року. І треба було по максимуму зберегти цих людей. Бо росіяни і під Солідаром, і під Бахмутом знищували свої відброси, скажімо так, що стосується якраз тих, хто сиділи або безнадійно хворі.
The head of Avdiivka's military administration, Vitaly Barabash, said that Russia's recent attacks were unlike anything he had seen in nearly a decade of fighting. The last road to Avdiivka from Ukrainian-held territory cuts past a high tree line before veering off to the south at the entrance to the city's giant coke and chemical plant. Russia's strategy to claim Avdiivka is to surround it along two fronts, from the north and the southwest. On Wednesday, the Russian flag flew on the high ground Slag Heap across the railroad from the coke plant. Reminiscent of the partial encirclement of Bakhmut, Wasgington Post reports that the few people who risk traveling the road, usually volunteers helping the city's 1,600 or so remaining inhabitants, must drive fast.
Ці будинки ще до цього наступу були цілі. Цей частний сектор. Це теж нещодавно ось тут була.
In recent days, Russian forces advanced past Krasnohorivka, 4 miles north of Avdiivka, towards the city's railroad. On Tuesday, Moscow captured the Slag Heap in what was described as a tactical blow to Ukraine. Russian footage showed scenes of drones dropping grenades on Ukrainian positions as soldiers desperately tried to crawl away. When the Russians planted the tricolor and the Soviet flag atop the Slag Heap, one soldier wrote, "The Slag Heap is ours," across the flag. And as the Russians make progress in Avdiivka, we hear the same consolation and hope statements from US experts when Bakhmut went from being strategic to symbolic. Michael Kaufman, senior fellow in the Russia and Eurasia program at Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, said, and I quote, "Taking Avdiivka by itself isn't going to significantly improve the Russian position.
Stop it. Get some help."
On the outskirts of Avdiivka, a unit from the 59th Brigade had been at the same artillery position for 12 days straight. The commander, with the call sign Benjamin, said this: "We spent most of our time shooting at the Russians to stop them from advancing so that our assault groups can move forward and reclaim our land." But then he said, "It seems to me that the Russians wanted to take Avdiivka quickly, and I think they're just trying to distract us so that we apply troops here and don't advance in different parts of the front." Which brings me back to the earlier statement. Is this another diversion? Hospital director Vitaly Sitnik says he spent some of the best years of his life in Avdiivka. He lamented that some of the residents have become slightly mentally unstable. When the shelling starts, people just continue on the way. They don't care anymore. There is still a desire that Avdiivka will hold, he exclaimed, although I honestly don't know what is left of it anymore.